Hello, Horde players. How are you? Fantastic. Does your Kodo look like mine? No. Can it smell like mine? Yes. Should he use Old Spice Kodo wash? I don't know. Do you like the smell of adventure? Do you want a Kodo that smells like it can carry you through the fires of hell and into the lands of epic raids and fat loots? Of course you do. Swan dive onto the best ride of your life. So, Horde players, should your Kodo smell like an Old Spice Kodo? You tell me.
And so, it begins. Dark were the skies, and chill was the wind, as the land was covered in a veil of malice. Across the hill did ride a dread army of the night, cloaked in mist and fog, prepared to rain down death and destruction upon the land. And the people did crowd for a savior, a noble soul to save them from their impending demise. Just as it seemed all was lost, in strode a mighty hero, clad in shimmering metal from head to toe. Wielding a terrible broadsword, he did cleave his foes in two, smashing their ranks asunder with righteous fury. And when the day was done and the enemy strewed across the fields in pieces, the people did turn to the warrior and say, "We shall name this day in your honor. Speak unto us your wisdom." The warrior said one word that day: epic.
One man, one Murloc, one giant angry badger. This is Blue Please. It begins now. Yes, indeed, folks. Welcome to Blue Please, here on CynicalBrit.com with myself, TotalBiscuit. The date today is the 20th of August, 2010. It is 8 p.m. British Standard Time. It's 3 p.m. in America. Well, in parts of America, the good bit of America anyway. In other places in America, some other times, it's kind of confusing. They don't really get it right. It's like 3/4 of the country can't tell the time, so they're sort of like a couple of hours behind. It's a little bit weird. They're a bit slow. It's okay. It's 9 p.m. Central European Summertime, and you are listening to Blue Please, so I've been told. May I apologize for the very start of this show. I have a cold and a sore throat. I may or may not sound pretty bad, so you have my apologies for that. I will endure as much as I possibly can. What have I got coming in for the show today? Well, we don't have an interview today. I've got a bunch of interviews lined up over the next fefew weeks. First things first, I'm going to be at the I-40 LAN next week. That does not mean there won't be a show. I'm going to try and broadcast. I am broadcasting from there, live StarCraft 2 tournaments for 3 freaking days. Solid. Like 8 or 9 hours a day, minimum. So if you like StarCraft 2, you might want to tune into that. I will post on the front page, and I will let you know exactly what's happening with that. The tournament has like 150 registered players, including pro gamers, and a lot more coming up. So, yeah, it's gonna be good. 3 days. 3 days of StarCraft, and if I can, I'll also do a Blue Please directly from... the apple juice has fallen over. There we go. Directly from the actual convention center itself. It's gonna be awesome. I'm looking forward to it. Yes. Aside from that, yeah. You know how it goes. It's the show. We talk about Cataclysm, things like that. It'll be entertaining. I hope. So we've got Cataclysm Q&A at the end of the show. If you want to send in for that, email themurloc@gmail.com. That is themurloc@gmail.com. And that will enable you to have a question perhaps answered, if I'm paying attention. Suggest that you do. Sounds like a good idea to me, so if you want anything answered whatsoever, let me know over the course of the next 90 minutes, and I'll see what I can do about answering it. I will not take questions via PM. Seriously, I will not take questions via PM. I'm not paying attention to the chat, because that would be freaking dumb. Seriously. Why would I pay attention to the chat I'm doing a show. What I want to be distracted by is a bunch of people waving their hands around. Oh, TB, me. Oh, it's like, I want to get the attention of the host in front of a few thousand people because that sounds good. Do I look like a woman to you? Do you think I can multitask? If I could multitask, I'd be in Diamond League and not Silver. Also, don't answer that thing about the woman. That was rhetorical. Thank you, bastards. Okay. We'll kick it off as we always do, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for this.
Mail time. That sounds like it's mail time. Here's the mail.
It never fails.
It makes me want to wag my tail. When it comes,
I want to wail.
Yes, indeed, folks, it's mail time. That be the time where we read the mail. Okay. So, first thing is first. This one comes from Hayden Hansen, also known as Starkill, and he says this. I was wondering if you ever had Blizzard contact you about your show. If they ever do, I think it would be a marvelous idea to do a Cataclysm Key beta giveaway. You can increase your popularity by a metric ton. Just an idea. I hope it helps. I've been trying to get a key everywhere. I see your freaking agenda. It's not about, oh, I'd love to help you, TotalBiscuit. This is a great suggestion. I want a beta key. Give me a beta key. I understand. So, I know Blizzard does listen to this show because they've admitted it publicly on the forums. Like Nethera, one of the CMs, said, yeah, we listen to a bunch of podcasts, including Blue Please, The Instance, and a few others. So they do listen, I know that for a fact. I have not been given any keys to give away. Blizzard, can we get some keys? Let's see if I can improvise something here. Let's give this a try. Hello, Blizzard. How are you? Fantastic. Is your show as popular as mine? No. Can it sound as good as mine? Yes. Should it give me plenty of beta keys to give away to your loyal players? I don't know. Do you like the smell of money? Do you want a player base that will be eternally grateful and a podcast host that may or may not eviscerate your foolish decisions on a weekly basis? Of course you do. Swan dive into the best giveaway of your life. So, Blizzard, should your show give me a bunch of keys to give away? You tell me. There you go. That's my attempt. We'll give it a try. Hopefully I'll get keys to give away. It would be great if I could. We'll see. Okay. Right. So, mail. What else have we got? More mail. I've got quite a lot of it. Needless to say. What have we got? This works. My mail's acting a little bit slow today. My apologies. Matches the speed of my brain at the moment. Here's a long one. Let's do this one. Okay. This one comes from Joe. Just Joe. And he says, hi, I'm a new listener to your podcast. I got wind of the show through a Cataclysm video on MMO Champion via a Shack News post thread a few weeks ago. It seems to me the problem with the ease of accessibility of gear means that no one really knows who is the good player. Okay. And who just farmed heroics for a few weeks. How do people know who is good anymore? Oh, he has the same gear as a hardcore raider, only with 5% less stats. Gear score? Well, that's a very one-dimensional, lazy, and easily exploited system. Yeah, I would agree with that. Achievement checking. Well, that one's a little better, since there's some expectation that the player can actually listen and not stand in fire. What about heroic achievement checking? Well, that's much better, since the combination of the gear plus the heroic mode means that, hey, this is a good player, and you'd be well off with them. All in all, that's one good. But what about a visual check? Tier gear sets are usually very recognizable and distinct, so let's tie them all together. Just as in PvP gear, add an additional requirement for collecting and wearing tier gear. Add in a heroic or hard mode achievement to the 4-set bonus. Make the 4-set bonus pretty good, a new mechanic or some change in gameplay, instead of something lame such as 10% more with your main attack. Whoa! In particular, add a kill requirement or heroic achievement to the shoulder/helm. Don't add one to the 2-set bonuses so casuals can still have something to work towards. Make the gear purchasable with heroic badges or points. Adjust the point accumulation rate so that 4 pieces could be bought after 4 to 5 months of farming raids. This also solves the problem with RNG with loot, which Blizzard has implemented to some extent through the system of upgradable tier gear through tokens in tier 9 and 10. Well, honestly, on that last point, they have put it in completely. The RNG for tier gear is gone. It's completely gone. It's all about collecting the badges now, and that's just the way of it. It didn't used to be. It used to be a case where, say in Ulduar, you had to pick up the pieces, these tokens, instead of just getting badges. So 2 pieces of the tier gear, that's 2. 2 pieces could be gotten via badges alone, and then you had to get the tokens. They changed that with tier 9 and tier 10. So there isn't really any RNG involved in that anymore. It's just a case of time accumulation. But whatever. Now it goes on to say, with the expansion changing gear differences from 10 to 25-man raids, from what I understand, they'll drop the same gear just at a higher rate in 25. This is very true, yep. The gear in 10 and 25-man raids in Cataclysm will be the same. You will get more of it per person if you do 25. So 25-man is still the most efficient way and the most optimum way to raid. It's as simple as that. Anyway. So this proposal is saying can solve the problem of identifying a good player based on visual inspection. So what you're basically saying is that tier gear shouldn't share a image, you know, because if that's what you're saying, I totally agree from the bottom of my heart. The fact that heroic gear looks the same as normal gear, it's like, I remember back in the day when they first put in those heroic modes, I'm like, oh, this is going to be awesome, we can get gear that looks completely different. No! Absolutely not. Heroic Firefighter versus normal Mimiron, for instance. It's night and frickin' day. And there's plenty of other examples of that as well. Oh, let's do a hard mode Putricide and get the same gear as normal mode Putricide. It looks the same, whoopity-doo. Yeah, that's damn right there should be some visual recognition. Even if it's just a goddamn glow, there should be visual recognition with better gear. It's as simple as that. You used to always be able to tell the good players. Why? Because they had the coolest freaking gear. If someone was wearing tier 3 shoulders, you knew that guy was pro. Without a doubt. Someone was wearing even tier 2.5. You knew that guy was pro. Someone's wearing a tier 2.5 robe. You want to know where that came from? I can tell you. It came from Cthulhu. You knew that guy was pro. Hell, even tier 2 robes came from Nefarian, which at the time was hard. You knew that guy was pro. That didn't share any models with anything. At all. It was unique, and it said, I have beaten a really hard-ass raid. Hell, he used to even make it so the helm, the shoulders, and the chest, which are the 3 most visible bits. The 3 most visible bits of a set only came from the hardest bosses of the instance. The chest piece would come from the end boss, which would always be the most difficult. That's the way you do it. Visual recognition is so damn important. Not only to the case of, hey, this is cool, I can see who's good and who isn't. It's about saying to someone, look, I want some character identity based on how good I am. And I can't get that right now because everyone's wearing the same gear as me. And just because it's got a little green thing underneath that says heroic, that sucks! That's lazy, for one thing. Oh, whoopity-doo-dah-day. It's the same piece of gear with some extra stats on it and a green thing below it that says heroic. What? That's the least heroic thing I've ever heard. Would you ever get a crazy fantasy tale where someone goes and battles a great dragon that's been menacing the village? He slays the dragon. Blood, guts, gore everywhere. Scorched with fire. Worn out. His sword shattered upon the ground. And he goes back to the village and he says, I have slain the mighty dragon that has been plaguing your village for so very long. And, of course, the village comes around and they worship him and they drop to their knees and prostrate themselves in front of him and beg for the mercy and the epic nature of this hero. And to say, can we give you an offering? Here is our finest suit of armor. And it's like, what's this? It's our finest suit of armor. It's heroic armor. But it's just a plaid flannel shirt. But it has heroic written on it. No, that's not going to work, is it? Let's be honest. That is not going to work. And it doesn't work in WoW either. To hell with that. Right. What else have we got? I can think of a few things. Got one more email here, I think, before we go to the break. Sounds like a good idea to me. Come on. Where have you gone? I actually marked these. I'm like, hey, I'm totally ahead of things. This one comes from Yellow Biz. He says this. How do you like the beta so far, and how does it compare to the other betas you've done, be it WoW or other games? Do you think the community gives enough feedback to the developers to make the game better, or are they all just playing the beta for the sake of playing the game and not actually giving feedback? Should beta access be given to random people or specific guilds and or players that know the game inside out? I ask because personally I find it silly to let newbies test the game. Right, okay. So, I want to address this because this is kind of important. It is totally fine to let newbies test the game. In fact, it's important. You want to know why it's important? Because a lot of what Cataclysm is a newbie experience. They're trying to totally refine the new player experience for some guy that's never played before. You heard Mike Morhaime saying himself, 75% of our guys quit before the end of their trial. That's huge! I mean, that's massively bad. Think about that retention rate. That is awful. So, yeah, newbies playing the game and playing the beta and people who haven't been playing for that long, that really does matter. They can provide feedback. The question is whether or not they do. I don't think the majority of people do provide feedback, honestly. I provide as much as I can. I know there are other people that do that as well. But you don't really need all of the beta guys providing feedback. A lot of this is just stress testing as well. Things that's going to come out when you have loads of people shaking on it, yeah? It's the same way any beta works. When you stress test, you get a bunch of people. They don't have to actively test. They've just got to play. If they notice something that sucks, like, say, that goddamn quest in a shower, it doesn't work. Ah, yes, the magical refleshifying ray. Oh, wait, this is bad. This doesn't work. Oh, yeah, it doesn't work. Of course it doesn't work. It's garbage. So, people who do that, even if they're not providing feedback, they're going to be frustrated with that, and they're going to shout, and they're going to say, "Oi, Blizzard, now! Get this sorted out right now!" They might not say it in that accent. That would actually be kind of obnoxious, but they might do it anyway. So, yeah. Finally, could it be that it's the community's fault that WoW had some terrible moments, such as bad optimization, bad dungeon redesign? I absolutely think it's the community's fault half the time. At the end of the day, the community shouts and whines for things, and when Blizzard acquiesces, it tends to result in bad stuff happening. Now, I'm just going to say this about giving out beta access to random people. It's difficult to means test that kind of thing. You've got millions of applicants, for God's sake. Who the hell's going to do that? I think what they need to do, when they hit level 85, they need to do what they've done previously, get some top-tier raiding guilds involved in the testing of some of the raid content. That will help with the balance. Don't go too crazy, though, because, like I say, I think a lot of this stuff should be tested internally, and it should be done in a way that means that when you finally get to it, you don't have your surprise and your thrill and the learning experience spoiled by the fact that you've just done it in the PTR 100 times. That sucks. Why can't Blizzard test their own raid content? I have to wonder. My name's been TotalBiscuit, and you're listening to Blue Please. It will still be TotalBiscuit after this break. This band is called 1999. My brother plays in this band. He does a lot of the sequencing. He actually plays the guitar as well. They're an industrial/rock/EBM group, and this track is called Terrornation. And I'll put a link in the show notes at cynicalbrit.com. You can check out their Reverb Nation site and see if there's a gig near you. I would recommend them. It's personally not my thing, but it's really well produced, and I think a lot of you will really get a kick out of it. So here we go. My brother's band, 1999. This is Terrornation. Enjoy.
Remain indoors.
So hard to reconcile. Self-indulgence twists around the truth. For your security, we're watching all you do. Save me. Save me. Save me. Save me from myself. Take the reins today. For your safety, here to stay. Dance with me. Illegal frequency.
Yes, indeed, folks, you listen to Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, Coughing Biscuit. Cold suck, man, seriously. So, I was at Bloodstock last week, and it was awesome! Yes! It was freaking metal. Thank you to everyone that came, by the way. We had a great campsite. We had like 15 guys there. It was awesome. Big shout out, by the way, to the Icelandic dude. What was your username? He's like a lurker. I think he might be an Eldrim, maybe? I think he was Eldrim. Yeah, I'm fairly sure he was. Whatever the case. He brought us some fish jerky. It was a gigantic salted freaking fish thing. I was like, nom nom. It was actually quite nice. He also brought us a couple of liters of this stuff called Brennivin. Now, I've been told Brennivin is kind of like a fisherman's liquor, so I started drinking it. And suddenly, I can't remember what happened after that. What I will say is a big shout out to the guy who drank quite a bit of Brennivin and was literally dead for a very long time indeed. He was unable to actually stand until 8 o'clock the next evening. It was pretty pro, so big shout out to them. But yeah, that was all fun. And also a shout out to Kiki Jiki who was there. So I haven't actually spoke to him in about a year, so we've all kind of made up and everything's cool with myself and Kiki, so yeah, nice to get a friend back. You know how it goes. Okay. So, what have we got coming up? Well, video-wise, I'd just like to tell you about that before I launch into my next tirade. Video-wise, I was pretty sick last night, and I'm sort of kind of sick now, but I'm about 3/4 of the way through the next Worgen video in Darkshore. It's coming out pretty well, so that's going to be out later, and I've also got a series of iSuck at StarCraft 2 videos that are going to be coming. I've been working on my build orders. I've actually been learning them. Actually, let me show you. I'll show you this on camera. Bear in mind, the camera is out of sync with the audio stream, obviously, because they're not linked in any way. I'll show you this. Freaking build order right here. You see this? This is a freaking build order, and I use this. This is a 2-gate Colossus setup. And on the back of it, I've got a printout of 9 pylon 12 gateway from the Team Liquidopedia. And I've been learning it, and it actually works. This 2-gate Colossus thing's really cool, so I'm going to be showing you some videos of that, and there's a bunch of other things that are coming up. Lots and lots of things, and a couple of surprises on the way. Maybe a bit of collab, maybe with someone else that you might like, someone who's pretty popular, who's fairly well known in terms of beta broadcasting, yes. Bit of collaboration. I'll tell you about that on a later show, I think. Whatever the case. Tease! Right. Let's do it. Let's talk about the Gamescom 2010 live Q&A, ladies and gentlemen, with Mr. Tom Chilton. So, this is a 45-minute Q&A that happened at the Gamescom on Thursday, and he's been telling people quite a few things, honestly. Pretty damn impressive overall. So, I want to talk about this. I'm going to run through this right here, and I'm also going to give you a link to it. This is a live blog of it. I believe there's some video of it as well. I'll find that later. But whatever the case. There we go. I've posted that in the channel. If you're not in the chat room and you're listening live, by the way, that's a new listener record. About 1,500 people listening right now. That would be a Blue Please live record. And last week, downloads were at 75,000 for the podcast for the week before that. So, that's pretty good. You guys are killing my bandwidth. Thanks. I like it. I love it. Sorry, you guys are fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so very much for that. Right, okay. Let's have a look at the other stuff, shall we? Let's have a look at the Gamescom Q&A with Tom Chilton. Oh, and apparently the tiny chat room's full. Sorry, guys. We might need a bigger boat. Okay, so it starts off, hello and welcome to our live coverage. I think they actually say this, by the way. If they talked this way, it would be awesome. Let's try it again, so with feeling this time. Hello and welcome to our live coverage of Blizzard's WoW Cataclysm Q&A session at Gamescom. Due to its game-changing nature, the legendary MMO's latest expansion promises to be its most ambitious yet. So this live blog comes from digitalspy.co.uk, so all credit to them. As I say, we get underway with game director Tom Chilton. Okay. So, he first teases us. The release date for Cataclysm, ladies and gentlemen, is the midnight of first Tuesday after it's done. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Hey! No.
Not one, but 2 Jormungandr worms.
You're not funny, Tom. Quit it. Yeah. Seriously, that makes me spasm involuntarily. Bah! Right. Okay, here he goes. He next goes on to talk about nostalgia for the game's original world and says he will look back on it fondly after 5 years' work before adding that he is very happy with new zones and the positive responses they received during the beta. Okay, that's fair enough. The whole thing is interesting, really. That nostalgia. I don't know if I really have that nostalgia. Do I have that nostalgia? A bit, I guess. I'm trying to think of any leveling zone from my original leveling up period. You know, this was like 6 years ago. That I can actually remember fondly in any way. No. Actually, I can't think of anybody, honestly. Think. No. Can I? Not a thing. One thing, yes, Western Plaguelands, the freaking Cauldron Quest, I remember those. That really is about it, though, it really is. Oh, God. I don't have all that nostalgia, honestly, I don't. I'm sure some people do, but my nostalgia's for the raiding. That's the stuff that I actually played and enjoyed. I don't have any nostalgia for things I didn't actually like. Like I've said before, and I'll say it again, unapologetically, the leveling up process was sucky. And the only reason I got through it was because I was in there with a clan that had been together for years, and we all kept each other going and mucked about so that we could get to max level. And then we could actually deal with the raid content, which was fun to do. That's nostalgia for you. The first Lucifron kill, I still remember the 40 guys screaming on vent. That is burned into my mind. That's freaking nostalgia for you. Not questing. Not PvP, not 5-man dungeons, Lucifron in Molten Core. That's nostalgia. I remember that vividly. Okay. So, it goes on to say, the exec says the series could revisit the events of the War of the Ancients trilogy in the future. The War of the Ancients trilogy? What the hell is that, anyway? Is that some book? Because I haven't read it. I'd have to Google this right now. War of the Ancients trilogy. Yes, apparently it is a trio of books written by author Richard A. Knack. Okay, I've not done any of that. I haven't read it, so I really can't tell you. Apparently it's got some guy called Ronan in it, and Brock Cigar, and also Mr. T's in there somewhere. Yeah, it sounds very exciting, whatever. Revisiting it's not for so much fan stuff, is it? It's officially authorized third-party material. It's like Star Wars. Like, if the next Star Wars movie was going to revisit the events of the Dark Jedi books, for instance, that would be weird. So it's kind of odd for a game to even consider doing that. But I suppose they've got a bit of a closer relationship with Knack than, say, the Star Wars guys have with those guys. Okay. Onward. I'm going to repost this because the chat or the video or the audio is really laggy. There you go. Right, so it goes on to say, speaking of what the expansion pack has in store for the Forsaken, Chilton says that the race needs to find ways to ensure their existence in the future. They're looking at their long-term survival rather than just seeking vengeance towards the Lich King. Well, you've seen that. If you look at my video, Garrosh versus Sylvanas, you will see exactly what's going on there. In fact, they're not looking for vengeance towards the Lich King, far from it. At this rate, she's going to become the new Lich Queen, for God's sake. She is a bitch. And I say that with the most affection I possibly can. She's a bitch. Just get over it. She is. People say, oh, that's inappropriate language. My eyes and my ears, and think of the children as I commit genocide on thousands of creatures in the game. Oh, killing's fine. It's the bloody American attitude. Slaughter, violence, bombing, genocide. It's all good, but don't you dare swear in front of my children. Disgraceful. Whatever the case. Yeah, she is a real bitch, without a doubt. She is out for the survival of her species and nothing more than that. She will happily slaughter thousands and hundreds of thousands of innocent Gilneans with the plague, even after being told not to use it. She is a bitch. Get over it. Okay. Onward. He addresses long-term... This is the bit. This is the bit. Well, one of the bits that I want to actually talk about. There's a few bits in this interview, it's not so much an interview, but the actual Q&A that was really important and actually stuck out to me. So this is one of them. So, he addresses long-term complaints from hardcore audience sections of the WoW fraternity that the game is too focused on accessibility. He says that the team had a dual focus with Cataclysm, improving the understanding of the interface while maintaining the depth of the overall experience. He adds that there's a lot more content for hardcore players in Cataclysm, as the pack includes more forced progression and less options to skip, like in Lich King. He says that the balance will shift towards the hardcore audience with Cataclysm. Well, maybe it will, but you've also got to bear in mind that this is a Q&A at Gamescom. If it said anything else, he would have been mobbed with torches and pitchforks. It's very likely. So, yes, from what we've seen, it is geared towards more hardcore players. It's got all the hard modes in from the very start. It's got 4 raid dungeons on launch. That's good, and they've split them into multiple dungeons per tier, as opposed to, here's Ulduar with its 14 bosses. And that's all you're getting for like 9 months. Enjoy. That's a terrible idea. Absolutely awful. I don't agree with this whole thing. It's like there's more forced progression. No, there really isn't, honestly. There isn't. Because you're still giving out those badges to people that do really easy stuff. That's not forced progression at all. That is just, hey, here's the cast-offs from last time. You can get raid gear you don't deserve. So if you just want to be lazy and acquire gear, then you can do it that way. And no one's stopping you from doing it that way. And that sucks. It really does. Okay. Onward. Chilton says the end of the current WoW universe will be an emotional time and jokes that there will be crying at Blizzard. He says there'll be events leading up to the Cataclysm event before the servers come down in the run-up to the pack's release, and this will allow players to download the necessary updates before stepping into the reshaped territory. Good riddance. Get rid of it. It's about bloody time. There's not going to be any emotions from me, I can tell you. Sink it all into the ocean. Start again. Okay, what else? Talks of epic bosses available to hardcore players only, but says the normal and heroic difficulties haven't been adequate. Wait a minute. Let me just read that again. Talks of epic bosses available to hardcore players only. But he says the normal and heroic difficulties haven't been adequate. It only took you about 2 years to figure that out. So he goes on. He adds that the difficulty setting isn't perfect and explains that he can imagine the game being divided into more difficulty settings in the future. Yes, 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 yes! Yes! Finally get it into your head. That's the way to design a game. About bloody time. Seriously. If the only campaign modes you had were easy and brutal in StarCraft 2, do you think your audience would be happy? No. So why is it that way in WoW? Explain that to me. You can't, can you? Because you know you're wrong. Finally! The guy admits it. Oh, kudos to him for doing that. It takes a big man to admit you screwed up. And you did. You really, really did. That divide between normal and hard modes sucks. It's bad. It needed to change. It has to change. I expect to see that in Cataclysm. I really hope. Because they said they want to go binary. Don't. Please don't. More than one difficulty setting. Let people play on their own terms and give them appropriate rewards for that. That's how you design a game. That's accessibility for you right there. It is. Right now, you don't have accessibility. You've got easy, you've got hard. Okay, big deal. So, you've given accessibility to a small minority of the player base, and then you've given bad content to a majority of the player base, and then you've given some hard content to the guys that are at the top. So, you miss out this massive, great demographic of people. They're your main player base. In the FUD that's come from them, the FUD that has come from them saying, oh, we want to cater to all of our players. No, you didn't. You catered to the minority, the bottom end and the top end. And the middle, gone completely. We don't care about the middle. We should care about the middle because they're the majority of our subscribers, but we don't care about the middle. Absolutely get that sorted the hell out. Well done. Honestly, well freaking done. About time that he realised that. I'm going to come back to this after the break, folks, because there's plenty more info. My name's TotalBiscuit, and again, I do apologise if my voice is going, and I'm a bit kind of tired. It's draining, but hey, whatever. We shall go forward. I'm sure it'll be good. Okay, my name is TotalBiscuit, and I'm going to play some music right now. This one comes from Children of Bodom, who are terrible. Yes, indeed, they were bad. I'm going to play some Bodom Beach Terror. Enjoy.
You're listening to the podcast, an archive of Blue Please. Music was removed to comply with copyright law. If you'd like to hear the music, tune into the live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 3 p.m. EST, only on cynicalbrit.com.
Raid leaders, what use is a guild if you can't shout at them?
Why are you standing in the fire again?
Shout at your guild with UGTservers.com. Let them hear your fury with crystal clarity. Choose from premium codecs to best convey your wrath. And once you've finally calmed down, you can relax in the knowledge that UGTservers.com offers extremely competitive prices on Ventrilo servers for your guild. At least until the shaman stands in the fire again.
Oh, why are you doing this?
UGTservers.com. Premium quality gaming Ventrilo servers for your guild. Get yours today.
Yes, indeed, folks, listen to Blue Please right here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, TotalBiscuit. Chat room is most likely full. I think we actually broke Tiny Chat. I don't think we could go any bigger than this. And yes, the mirror server is starting to fill up as well. There's really not a lot I can do about that. Sorry. Oh, dear. Oh, dear, oh, dear, oh, dear. If you want to donate towards getting a bigger streaming server, then PayPal is TotalBiscuit@gmail.com. So I don't think you're going to do that, but whatever. I can try, can't I? Internet panhandling is the win, I'm told. Alright. Talking about this Gamescom thing. If you're listening on the podcast, you should have checked out the show notes over on cynicalbrit.com. I'll put a link to it there. So we're in the middle of this, and this is what Tom Chilton's talking about. So we were talking about the hardcore progression, all that kind of thing. I'm going to go on and look at the rest of it. So, here we go. So, he goes on to say that a complete overhaul like Cataclysm might also happen again in the future, and he explains that the other continents of the game are likely to be given similar treatment. Really? Okay. When, I wonder? That's interesting, isn't it? Because can you ever really justify giving, say, Outlands or Northrend an overhaul like in Cataclysm? It seems... I don't know, it seems very limited in terms of who it would appeal to. Because, I mean, that's proper, full-on expansion material. There's no doubt about that. That is really hardcore expansion material. That costs a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. So what would you do? At the end of the day, what would you do? Would you redo them at the same level? Would you end up, say... having it so that you go back there at 85 to 90? I don't know. That's really weird, isn't it? It's an odd idea, but it's actually kind of worrying, because that stuff's going to take a lot of time, and if they end up overhauling... I'm not saying they shouldn't overhaul the Outlands in Northrend, don't get me wrong. I mean, the Outlands is probably the worst questing area. As of Cataclysm, it's definitely the worst questing area. And Wrath questing is actually pretty good in comparison to TBC. This is one of the things that I said they did right in Wrath. They got the questing a lot better. The questing was a lot more engaging and a lot more enjoyable than it was in TBC, and certainly way more than it was in Vanilla. TBC questing is not that great. I mean, it had the advantage of having some really unique environments, like, say, Zanga Marsh. Zanga Marsh is an awesome-looking area, but the quests there sucked. So, honestly... if you're going to remake it, how are they going to do it? Because I don't think I'm really all that keen on them going back and say, here's another expansion, ladies and gentlemen, we redid the Outlands. Would you accept that? I don't think I would. I mean, okay, all of Azeroth, okay. I get that. That's fine. It had some much-needed progression in terms of the story and in terms of the way everything's done. And it's great. I mean, in terms of the way that the game looks now, it looks awesome. It's great to fly over those old areas again and have a look and see what's changed. There are enough changes there definitely to justify it. I actually had some guy on my YouTube channel say, "Oh, this is less than an expansion and more than a patch." No, it's an expansion. It really is, dingus. Seriously. There are sufficient new areas to justify it being an expansion. There are sufficient changes to justify it being an expansion. I forgot to say, the 4 new areas are way bigger than what's in Northrend. Those 4 new areas, they are larger by far than the entirety of Northrend. And they're certainly bigger than Outlands. I can tell you that for a fact, because I've been in all of them. Vashia is freaking huge! Oh, you have no idea! It's enormous! And you're talking about some of the large areas like Blade's Edge and like Nagrand. These areas are way bigger. Hyjal's bigger, Vashia's bigger, Oldham's bigger, Twilight Highlands is bigger. There is more content, and that's 5 levels and not 10! Don't tell me this is not an expansion. Are you blind? Alright, it's less of an expansion, and it's more than a patch. Oh, could you herp and derp any more? Oh!
People like that give me a headache. Ah, they do.
Sorry. That is so dumb. It's so very, very dumb. You know, as someone who criticizes Blizzard and has done for the past 5 to 6 years, this is an expansion. This is the biggest expansion they've ever done by far. It is the best value expansion they've ever done. They've crammed more content into 5 levels than they've ever crammed into 10 previously. And it's better. It's all better. They have learned. Never ever say about Blizzard that they don't learn from their mistakes, because they do. Sometimes it takes them time. Sometimes they go through a bunch of stages. It's kind of like the puberty phase. You know, it's like, Mommy, I don't want to do my homework today. Can I just make a binary hard mode? You know, things like that. It takes them a while, but look what Tom Chilton said. We think that this is a good idea. We want more difficulty levels. That's good. They learn from their mistakes. That's why they're one of the best developers in the world. Doesn't mean they're immune to criticism. Doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. They make loads of mistakes. But they're still one of the best devs in the world. Because development is not an exact science. Ever. In any scenario. The best developer in the world can still screw up. Okay. So we go on. Explaining the drawbacks of the PAX approach, Chilton says that it's less clear to the players where the new content is because it's spread out across the existing world. Communicating where the new features are is going to be a challenge for the development team. How about you just don't? Why do you need to tell them? Explain to me why you need to tell them. The only thing you need to do for 80 to 85s is point them in the direction of the right zones. And you want to know how they're doing that right now? There's actually a big... At the moment in the beta, there's a big notice board in the middle of Orgrimmar. As of my level 80, it's like, go to Vashia, go to Hyjal. And I imagine that's a placeholder. There'll be some much more engaging stuff to get you there. As long as you're taken to the right places, it's fine. And as regards to alts, well, how about you just let them experience it on their own damn terms? Alts are going to notice the difference. You're going to see in the video that I've got, the one that's coming up today and will probably be uploaded overnight, the new Worgen video, Deep Ocean Vast Sea is gone. Completely, totally, 110% gone. It's gone. Totally gone. Good. Death to Deep Ocean Vast Sea. People are going to notice that. You'd have to be an idiot not to notice that. I never leveled an alliance in my life, and I noticed that. It's not hard. Really. So, don't explain to people what's changed. Let them see. Let them play. That's all that is needed. Your content is good enough. Mostly. There's a lot of things that need to be changed. Like there's some crappy quests in there still. Get rid of those. Deal with them. Make it better. But yeah, undoubtedly, let them experience it for themselves. You don't need to put, oh, guys, look, this is new. Really, it's new. Look. Oh, for God's sake, have some faith in your player base. I know you don't have a reason to. I just go on the official WoW forums and I lose all faith in mankind, let alone the player base. But seriously, they will notice. They are not that stupid. Only mostly. Okay. The director reveals that the existing gameplay will still be accessible following the launch of Cataclysm, and players can play the new quests in level 1 to 60. Yep. Okay. Yeah, we knew that. New quests, level 1 to 60. You can do it without the expansion pack. That's the main thing. So, if you don't have the expansion and you're still on vanilla, or you're just trying it out, yeah, you'll get to play all of the new stuff up to level 60. So, it's all cool. Okay. He says that race class combinations will be available right after the cataclysmic event occurs. Okay, there you go. Yeah, I can imagine what that's going to be. It's like, guys, there's a cataclysm. You know those Tauren paladins we've been hiding out? Yeah, under Thunder Bluff? Yeah, those ones, that big cave. Yeah, the cave you couldn't get into. That's where we kept the Tauren paladins. We might want to use them now. Guys, what do you mean there's no Tauren paladins? Yeah, there are, really. We've just been hiding them. They're right there. See? There you go. Holy cows. Whole freaking mountain full of holy cows. Just ready to go. It's easy. Okay. Chilton then addresses reports that new subscribers have stagnated. He denies such claims, saying the game is continuing to grow. He went on to say that every time a new expansion is released, the user base grows. Really? Thanks, Captain Obvious. Ugh. Come on, Tom. Everybody knows this. Are you suggesting that a massive marketing campaign, a large revamp of the game, and a huge amount of store shelf presence increases the subscriber base? Really? That is the sound of my illusions being shattered by that earth-shattering revelation. Oh, God. I can see why you're one of the top dogs at Blizzard. You know your stuff, man. Okay, on we go. Reveals that Blizzard are interested in bringing in new communication features into the game. They said they want to bring in Battle.net voice chat across games. Please make it better than it currently is, because if you bring in what you've got right now, it's gonna be awful. It's bad. Honestly, it's like, unless you can provide a server-based solution along the lines of Ventrilo, I'm never gonna use that stuff. Why would I use something that's suboptimal? Well, I could sit on a server that streams at 1228 kbps, 48 kilohertz quality, the kind of audio that you could record to a CD, and people would think, that sounds alright. Or I could use Blizzard voice chat, whereby it's the in-game equivalent of talking through 2 tin cans and a piece of string stretched across a frickin' highway. It's awful. Why would you want to use that? Server-based solutions are the best. Peer-to-peer, voice over IP, with the exception of Skype, and even then that breaks up a lot of the time, is bad. It's certainly not going to work in a game. Please don't do it. He went on to say that it hails the online service as a great success and announces plans to keep expanding the platform to make it more feature-rich. Oh, please do, because right now the platform's not very good. I'm sorry, it isn't. And what does Battle.net offer? Nothing? You play your games the way we want you to play your games. Oh, okay, Blizz, I guess, because I don't really have a choice, but honestly, I'd really prefer to do LAN. Do not speak of the LAN! The LAN is Satan incarnate! Do not speak of it in this hallowed hall! But Blizzard, I'm playing at a LAN center, and the lag is like, do not speak of the L word! Lag does not exist! The technology just isn't there yet! But Blizzard, you had cross-region play in 1998. Do not speak of the cross-region play! It's bad, isn't it? It's so bad. Battle.net 2.0, 3 steps back, and hopefully we'll get 3 steps forward in the next 10 years. That would be great. Oh, man. Get back to where we were. Right. Okay, what else we got? Fielding a question about giving away too much free content, Chilton says that he doesn't anticipate a problem with this. He cites the success of free content patches and the game's ongoing growth as evidence of this. So what he's talking about is the fact that people that don't buy Cataclysm still get 1 to 60 new quests. And you might think that's dumb, but it really isn't. Hell no. They're looking at the long term here. You're looking at player retention. This is really vitally important. What do you think's going to happen? Or what do you think would happen? Hypothetical. If you didn't get the new 1 to 60 experience, if you didn't buy Cataclysm. I'll tell you what happens. 75% loss rate. That's what happened. 75% quit on the trial. They're changing the stuff because they want people to stay. And if they have to give them a free expansion to hook them in, so be it. It's not free. They're still paying subscription, and the meat of the content you have to pay for at 70 to 80 to 85. That's 3 expansions they're going to pay for at that point. The point is, you engage them to 60 and they'll want to play more. It's a long-term business strategy, and it's a good business strategy. It's exactly the kind of business strategy they need. It's awesome. Awesome, 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 awesome. More, please. Seriously, more. My name is TotalBiscuit, and that was a look at the Gamescom Q&A from Thursday, I believe, with Tom Chilton. A lot of very sensible stuff said there, honestly. I'd love to have Tom Chilton on the show, but somehow I think that's not all that likely. I think it's more likely the Deathwing comes into the studio and gives me a box of chocolates, and then wanders off singing, "Raindrops are falling on my head, and everyone in Azeroth is about to be dead. I'll set them on fire, because I'm Deathwing and I'm awesome. Da-da-da-dum." I'll be right back after this, folks. Enjoy.
You are listening to the podcast, an archive of Blue Please. Music was removed to comply with copyright law. If you'd like to hear the music, tune into the live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 3 p.m. EST, only on cynicalbrit.com.
Yes, indeed, folks, listen to Blue Please here on cynicalbrit.com with myself, TotalBiscuit. Main server maxed out, mirror server reaching capacity, tiny chat is full. We're gonna need a bigger boat! Okay, so, let's get on with it, shall we? We'll try to, at any rate. Suffering so very much. Last thing you want to hear is me blowing my nose on air. Whatever the case, let's try it. Let's get on with it. I'm going to talk about Tol Barad for a bit, why not? I put out a series of videos about Tol Barad. I'd like to talk to you in retrospective about that particular PvP area. Just a lot of things I didn't get to say in the video. If you want to see the series, it's available on my website. cynicalbrit.com is the place to go. It's one of the latest posts up there. It's called Tol Barad Preview Series. There's 3 videos there. There's one of the Fire Mage PvP spec. There's one that's like a tour of the Daily Quest Hub and a little bit of a battle. And then there's like a full-length battle at the end. So, lots of content there. I like to be... If you haven't guessed already, I don't do things half-arsed because I think it sucks. I had a guy, actually... you'll enjoy this very much, because I certainly did. I can't remember his name, because it doesn't matter. I think it was called... what was he? Polar Bear? Hybrid Polar Bear? Something like that? I can't remember, you know. So many scrubs these days, they try to blur into each other, whatever the case. And he's gone on saying, TotalBiscuit cares about nothing but the money. He doesn't care about his fans at all. Like... I've had quite a few people say, you don't respect your fans. Well, let me just tell you this. There are 2 kinds of respect. Yeah? There's the proper kind of respect, and there's the respect that children like. The respect that children like is called pat on the head and here's a sweetie. That is that definition of respect. That's the whole, guys, I'm so happy you're listening to my show. Hey! You guys are amazing. That is the pat on the head and give them a sweetie kind of respect. You know what? You are not 5 years old. You don't deal well with that. I don't need to thank you for listening to the show. You are not 5 years old. You don't need merit badges for doing so. You don't need achievement points. You don't need me to give you a piece of cake as much as you would love to. The cake is not true. Whatever the case, real respect when it comes to media, real respect is giving your viewers a consistent, regular, high-quality, well-edited product that is done to the very best of your ability. Every single video should be your greatest video, and then you should look back at that video and say, that video sucks, my next one's going to be even better. Why? Because I give a damn about you. And everybody else that watches, the guys who aren't listening to the show, the guys who are, the guys who might watch my videos in future, the guys who might not, even if there's a tiny little possibility that you'll watch my stuff in future, it will be the best stuff you will frickin' ever see. Why? Because that is what is called respect. respect for the media, and respect for the medium, as well as respect for the audience. And that's how you do it. And a freaking hybrid polar bear wants to say otherwise. Oh, guys, it's so awesome. Here's my 10-minute Tol Barad video with my 4 retarded freaking Down syndrome vent mates trying so desperately to be funny through $5 freaking Walmart headsets. I'm so great. I beat TotalBiscuit to the punch with this terrible freaking video. And then I have the balls to go on MMO Champion, the place where I'm a moderator, la-di-da, shaman moderator in training. I'm terrified. Shaman moderator in training? He might use a searing totem. Ah! Oh. And he has the balls to go on there and say to me, you don't respect your fans. And I laughed so hard. You have no idea. You know, I'm not just talking about those ha-ha or ha-ha-ha. I'm talking about those big belly laughs. Knee-slapping folk metal laughs at anyone that could dare have the testicular fortitude, or more likely, the mental disability to think that. Respect. Shove your 5-year-old version of respect up your ass. Children and amateurs. You wonder why nobody respects gaming media? I'll tell you why nobody respects gaming media. Because of people like that. Oh, let's be nice to each other. Nah. Here's an idea. How did every single other medium get good? Competition. How does the free market work? Competition. How does every economy in the world that isn't some backwards, ridiculous society work? Competition. I'll be better than that guy. I'll be better than that guy. Better, improvement, consistent improvement. Quality. That's respect. That's respect for the viewer, the consumer. People like that make me sick. And I do mean make me sick. They're an embarrassment to me as a gamer. They should be an embarrassment to you as a gamer. You should hate these people. You want to know why you should hate these people? Because the rest of the world looks at you like an idiot. They think you're a child. Because people that have some tiny platform, you know, they get it. It's so hilarious when people call me arrogant. I've got to tell you this. It's hilarious. I am an arrogant bastard. You want to know why? Because it's bloody justified. Because I worked my ass off for 12 years to be good at what I do. That's why I get a paycheck every month. That's why I can do this as a job and not as a hobby. That's why I'm not in an office 9 to 5 or flipping burgers. Because I worked and I respected the medium. It makes me laugh so hard when people like that have the balls to call me arrogant. The arrogance of it is to assume that you, just because you put out some crappy video on the internet, deserve attention. That is arrogance. It's arrogance to assume that your viewers will accept any old crap just because you're on the internet and you make videos and they're not in the beta, so your videos must be awesome. No. No, they're not. Your videos suck. You want to know why my videos get more views? Because they're better than yours. You want more views than me? Make better videos. You can't, can you? Because, I've been around for a year and a half. Why don't people pay attention to me? A year and a half? Come back to me when you've got another decade under your belt. Work your arse off. Embrace competition. Respect the medium. And then, just then, maybe it will respect you. For the meantime, however, go to hell. Anyway, Tol Barad. So, Tol Barad, ladies and gentlemen. Let me talk to you about it. So, Tol Barad. The idea of Tol Barad is you've got these 3 points, and the defenders have to defend the 3 points, and the attackers have to capture the 3 points. The defenders spawn in a thing in the middle, which they have to jump off of, which for some reason only has a 10-second slow-falling buff. So, I've, been here for 12k. 12k! I jump off that thing. 12k! Whoopity-doo! I just lost half my health! Awesome! That's wonderful! Oh dear, that needs changing. Whatever the case, you gotta defend this 3 points, so... It's not really like Wintergrasp per se, because Wintergrasp is more of, you've got to defend the door, and you've got to defend it mostly from siege engines, not just from guys. Here, if you hated siege engines, you're gonna love Tol Barad, because there's barely any of them. The siege engines are there solely for knocking down towers, which will extend your time attacking. And that's it. There's only 3 towers. Once they're knocked down, you get about 10 minutes extra for knocking down the 3. That's it. So, you look at a longest length of about 40 minutes. Now, this dungeon, this battle area is attached to a PvP hub, and it's attached to a daily questing hub. So, once you take that area out, you're going to be able to do daily quests not only, and this is being confirmed today, by the way, I can read you the quote, it's pretty neat. I'll get that for you right now. You'll be able to do quests in Tol Barad in a dedicated daily questing hub that's set up for level 85. So, the Isle of Keldanas, you remember that? Yeah, it's like that. Only it's attached to a PvP zone. Now, that doesn't mean that you won't be able to daily quest there if you don't own Tol Barad. That's not true. What you will get if you own Tol Barad, you'll get bonuses. So you get better quests if you own it. You know, kind of like, you know how Nagrand was, where you owned, what was it, Hala or whatever? Hala Akbar, I can't remember what it's called. That thing in the middle, if you owned that, you would get, like, some bonuses. Kind of like that, only not terrible. So, you'll be able to quest not only in there, but also in the PvP area while you own it. Quote here, there are 3 micro-dungeons in the Tol Barad area. I actually showed them to you in my videos. These are not supposed to be open during battles, by the way, but they are. So, the point of these is they're supposed to be closed off during main battles. Anyone in them is going to get kicked out, and they're there to support daily questing in the zone between battles. So you're going to be able to go in these little micro-dungeons that don't look like they're instanced. They're just sort of dungeon-style areas. They're kind of interesting. There's a lot of cool stuff in there. There's no mobs right now, and they're incomplete, but there's like a lot of terrain and cool doodads on the walls and things like that. So, yeah. That's how it goes, and it looks okay, honestly. Looks alright. Pretty good. Daily questing never really enthused me, honestly. So, it does seem a little weird to get excited about it in any way, shape, or form. I don't think I really do get excited about that. PvP is okay. Honestly, I think the best thing that happened to PvP in Cataclysm is rated battlegrounds, because as opposed to Twitch APM, don't get me wrong, I respect people that can do high-level arena, because I'm terrible at it. Yeah? I'm useless. But I'm more of a strategic kind of thinker. Like, I used to play Savage 2 a lot, and I used to command a lot in Savage and Savage 2. And it's all about battle control, and actually ordering people around. A battleground, for instance, is kind of like a PvP area for a raid leader. It's the same kind of thing. It's like, you've got to be here at a certain time. We've got to manage our resources. Whereas in an arena, it's like, you have got to be tight, you've got to be pro, and your APM and your actual timing and your speed is going to be through the roof. Whereas in a battleground, not so much. It's a bit more zergy. But in a rated battleground, you're talking about actual fixed teams. That's the really important thing. You're talking about fixed teams that will be organized. They will be organized. Also, hi to Ariana, who is in the chat room right now, under the name Cynical Brit. Yes, indeed. She's using our Cynical Brit account. It's always nice to have an extra moderator in here. I can't moderate while I'm doing the show. But yeah. I like Battlegrounds more. I'm sorry, I do. It's not because they're more skillful, quite the opposite. It's because it's a different flow. It's a different feel. I like these larger battles. I suppose it's from my days of playing Battlefield 1942 that I appreciate the whole capture point and capture the flag scenarios more than an instant kill deathmatch. That's when I played more. I mean, I didn't play a lot of, say, Quake and Quake 2 online when I was younger, but one of the first games I really played an awful lot of FPS-wise online was, well, I mean, Battlefield 1942 was one of them, but it was a source mode called Firearms. It wasn't a source mode, sorry. It was a normal Half-Life mode called Firearms. And that was like capture points and stuff like that. And I preferred the slower, more strategic flow to the battle. Now, Tol Barad's a bit like that, but because you don't do fixed teams, it's way more zergy. And actually, I've got some real concerns about it in its current state. Because of the mechanics, you can lose 2 out of 3 of your points, and you'll be okay. If you capture, say, a defender's point, you don't get extra time like you would in, say, Team Fortress 2. It's not like that. It goes on for a set amount of time. So, actually capturing those points, there's only one purpose to that. It's to get all 3 at once. So, if you lose a point, it's kind of a pain in the ass, but in a 2 out of 3 scenario, the problem is that the real way to actually run out the clock is to have all of the defenders in one place. Dump 40 guys. I'm assuming 40 versus 40 for the time being, because I don't know better. And we've not had a full-size test in the beta right now. There's just not enough people. But you're looking at a situation where you can put 40 defenders in a choke point and say, bring it the hell on. There's no other ways in. You can guard those choke points really well. Siege engines at that point become useless. It's like, this doesn't really work very well in Wintergrasp. Because if you get like 24 siege engines, let's say you've got all of the points, you've taken everything out, and you've got full control. You roll in there with 24 siege engines, nothing is going to stop that. Nothing. Spread them out a bit so they're not vulnerable to AoE. You can't stop 24 siege engines at once, but you can stop 40 people at once. Especially if you're in a hold-up defensive position where you can get the drop on them. Now, I haven't actually attacked yet. In that, I've always been defending, so I'm not 100% sure how it spawns you, but there seem to be multiple graveyards. Now, it would make sense if it spawned you as an attacker at the graveyard that was closest to the point that you were attacking. But I don't know if that's the case. In that case, you might be able to wear them down with a War of Attrition, but I'm not convinced. And what you've got is a situation where your defenders only spawn in the middle. So, you've got your one last point, say you've got the northern point, and you've got that defended. So whenever one of your defenders dies, they either have to get resurrected by a healer, which is doable, totally doable. You can get resurrected, or you can spawn in the middle. And then you get on your mount and you go there. So there's a couple of ways in, but they'll all be guarded. And the question is, you're going to have to blockade run at that point. It would be potentially possible for a attacking force to starve out the defenders and wear them down with a War of Attrition. I don't know yet. I don't know if that will actually work, because we've not seen a full-sized battle. The problem is, it really seems to me that that could be a major factor and a major issue with this PvP area. I'm not convinced by it yet. The dynamic's pretty enjoyable, but I'm not convinced that it works. I'm not convinced that it does what it says on the tin, and that it is really as effective as it should be. I think they've really got to have a look at that, and they've got to give the attacking side an advantage for owning 2 out of 3. And maybe those towers need to do something else. Maybe it's going to have a stacking buff or a stacking debuff from destroying those things. Call it a morale. Let's call it morale, shall we? So, you lose 2 out of 3 points and you lose 3 out of 3 towers. You get a stacking debuff on your character called Demoralized, which actually does damage to you or takes away some of your stats. And it gives you a reason to take them back. If you take back one of those points, give them a genuine boost. It's like, rallied, second wind, kind of morale boost. Because otherwise, there's no point. There is no point in going out and taking back those other 2 points. You're better off holed up in one place, sitting on the point, Dunkoff, and saying, "You shall not pass." Just thought. My name is TotalBiscuit. You're listening to Blue Please, here on CynicalBrit.com. I'll be right back after this, folks. Enjoy.
You're listening to the podcast, an archive of Blue Please. Music was removed to comply with copyright law. If you'd like to hear the music, tune into the live stream on Fridays at 8 p.m. GMT. That's 3 p.m. EST, only on CynicalBrit.com.
Okay, my broadcast software's screwing up again. Woohoo! Where's the music? Bloody, God, no, not there, no! Yes, indeed, folks. Cataclysm Q&A time right here for the next 15 minutes before the shout-out to the end of the show and I fall over and die. More like I find some food and then get back on with Cataclysm videos, because no rest for the wicked and no sleep for the just. Okay, send it in, themurloc@gmail.com. That is the murloc@gmail.com. That's the place you want to go to send me messages and money. Actually, no. If you want to send me money, it's TotalBiscuit@gmail.com, but there you go. All right. Here we go. It's a lot of Q&A questions. Send them in. I will not take them via I'll take them via IRC. I won't take them via Tiny Chat. Tiny Chat is too spammy. It's impossible. You just can't do it. So, I will happily take them via IRC. I'm on QuakeNet. My name's TotalBiscuit. It's not that hard. Right. Dear host of shows, what's your opinion on healers doing damage to get mana mechanic? I would think that any healer should be pretty damn happy about that. I press one button. Well, there was actually a thread about, it's like, Ghostcrawler, why are you forcing healers to use more than one heal? Oh, please. If you want a repetitive one-button game, I can think of quite a few of them, honestly. Most of them on the iPhone, I might add, but that's bad. Have the new Worgen and Goblin cinematics been added yet? No, they have not. Right, what else? That's not a Q&A question at all. Are there any changes to Silvermoon? No, except I've heard there might be a model update for the King of Silvermoon, whoever the hell that is. I think he's been updated. I haven't checked. I've barely been in there. It's a no-fly zone right now, so you can't do anything. The Blood Elf starting zone is totally the same thing. Also, shout out to Tresna, who is having a baby soon. Congratulations, Tresna, whoever you are. Okay. That's too long. I can't read that. I'm too tired. What else have we got? Q&A. One question about reforging. Is it doable only on high-level gear, or can you reforge low-B items as well? Or heirlooms? I think you can reforge low-B items, but bear in mind you can only do it on secondary stats. A lot of low-B items don't have secondary stats. And we're talking about stuff like hit and crit and haste. You can reforge that. You can't reforge, say, not hit. Now, what the hell am I talking about? Strength. And you can't reforge int, and you can't reforge agi and things like that. So, a lot of low-level gear, it's going to be irrelevant, because most low-level gear can't even have that anyway. As far as I'm aware, you can reforge leveling gear. I don't see it being that much of a factor, honestly. It's so little. I mean, you can take 40% of a stat. That's only really going to matter when you actually get very, very much high up in there. That's a shout-out. I'm going to give it anyway, because it's actually to my wife. From, shout out to Ariana and Hope and Despair, who has finished work for 10 days. P.S. Hope you had a good time. Bloodsack. That's from Catherine Notley, who is, I believe, the warden in the chat room. So, yeah, shout out to my wife, and shout out to... Is that Hope and Despair's wife, or is it just girlfriend? I am unaware of your situation, but congratulations on the spawn incoming, incidentally. Okay, what else have we got? There are things. Any sign of Hermit Nessingwary? Not yet. Probably in... He's going to be in bloody Oldham, isn't he? I don't think there's even a question about that. I would think he's going to be in Oldham, but there you go. Okay, what else have we got? More Q&A. Out of a few dungeons you've done, which ones do you like the most and why? Throne of Tides is the best dungeon out of the ones I've done, which consists of 2, I might add. Stonecore, I'm working on it. Bear in mind, people ask me, can you do Stonecore? It's like level, you gotta be 83 to get in there, man. And I'm not gonna confirm that I have a secret character that I'm leveling up, but I might have a secret character that I'm leveling up. So, yeah, you'll get to see Deep Home, and you'll get to see Stonecore sooner than you might think. In terms of scenery, Throne of Tides. Cinematics, Throne of Tides. Bosses, Throne of Tides. Throne of Tides is way better. It's really good. It's awesome. It looks fantastic. They've got a mind control boss again. It's a mind control boss. Do you understand what that means? Like, we don't want random RNG mechanics because it's not in... it makes me cry. Man up. Mind control boss. It's awesome. It's a brain slug. Why would you not like it? What else have we got? Also, there's Neptulon in there. I've heard that now works, by the way, so I'm going to work on getting you a video of it. Dear host of shows, will there be any new flying mounts? Will there be higher speed percentage mounts? Yes, no. There won't be higher speed percentage mounts. You'll be able to train a 310 skill that will apply to any flying mount you have, so you can use your favourite one. Will there be new flying mounts? Yes. Of course there's going to be new flying mounts. They're in every expansion. Okay, what have we got? Hey TB, how are priests? What? I think I've got something on the brain. Priests squaring up. Are there any new nice spells for Shadow Priest? Ask my wife. Ask my wife, seriously. Go and PM her, right? She's going to hate me. PM Cynical Brit on the Tiny Chat and ask her about Shadow Priest changes. She'll tell you. She's... I'm not going to get spoken to for a week. Alright, what else have we got? Here's my question. Do you also hate it? No, that's a stupid question. What else have we got? Do you think there'll be any changes to the old battlegrounds such as Alterac Valley, Warsong Gulch, and Arathi Basin? I've just closed Tiny Chat. That was really dumb, wasn't it? I'm not getting my cam spot now. Oh, well. I know of no changes to them at present. Honestly, I really have had no reason to go in there. Why would I? I really, just think about it for a second. Why would I go into those places? They might change AV again, because they like to change it like every fucking patch. So there you go. That's probably the best way to do it. Can I get my cam spot back? Great question. Let's try it. No, somebody's stolen my cam spot. Okay, I'm going to have to take it back. I declare war on the person that stole my cam spot. Okay, who are we getting rid of? Right, first person I see is being got rid of. It is... Waste! Congratulations, you just got picked to be got rid of. My apologies, but that's just the way that it goes. Deal with it. Right. What else do we have? Dear host of shows, I wonder if they're going to destroy the plywood instance so we can live in peace. No, but you're not going to have to see it again anyway. Frickin' Northrend Crusaders Colosseum. I make my dungeons out of plywood and flags. Ugh. Do you think mages should get new interface options like druids and warlocks? Hell yeah, they should! Everyone should get a new resource or something, or some kind of cool gimmick. Can you beta test Deepom? Just said that. Are the new goblin voices permanent? No. There are different groups of goblins that speak differently. Like the auctioneers in Orgrimmar, they have changed, but the quest givers in Ashara, they haven't. So, I wouldn't get too stressed out about it. Do you think that one of the Cataclysm patches will include the Culturas? And what is your opinion on the new Warrior Age mechanics? Culturas, those are the magic dudes, right? Hey! I make people rage so much. Pro tip, guys, I do it on purpose. I really do. It's like, okay, let's say Sarah was Arthur's girlfriend and see how many veins pop in the heads of lorehounds. That's so freaking funny. Does Goblin Rocket Jump work in the same way as Mage Blink in terms of breaking fall damage? Yes, but it's no fun that way. What you're supposed to do is get to the highest point you can and press the rocket boots and fall to your death. And if you're not doing that, then you're not a real goblin. But yes, you can do it if you so desire. It resets your height when you press it, so yeah, it's kind of like Mage Blink. Are mages more than 2 buttons in Cataclysm? Yeah, especially if you're a fire mage. Like, many dots, explosions! It's pretty pro. Arcane, not so sure about that, honestly. Arcane still seems to be the same, but there is a lot of work still to be done. Beta is beta, nothing is final. Okay, what else we got? Cataclysm Q&A. Can you get through the upper door to the elevator in Undercity in a large mount? No! You can't, I've tried. I tried on a freaking Drake. Doesn't fit, it's too fat. Needs the Atkins diet. Okay, what else we got? Will it go? No. We've already had that question. We're not doing that. DATB, what locations do you think will be world PvP zones? Southern Barrens. Come on, the two questing hubs face each other. Stone Talon as well, that's got a lot of stuff in there. So those two areas definitely are going to get quite a bit of fighting. Okay. I heard the water zone is massive. Have you explored it yet? A bit of it, yeah. It's freaking huge. Vashir's like the biggest zone they've got. It's massive. And there's tons of cool stuff in there. Are hunters still broken in the beta? I don't know. I haven't tried with fire for ages. Okay, what else have we got? I'm hoping it's fixed. Hey, TB, what do you think of the fact that a guild needs 6 legendaries to unlock guild rewards? Cool. Really, actually, cool. According to this, guild rewards have 3 requirements that must be met before you can use them. First and foremost, they must be unlocked via a guild achievement. Let's just say that, for example, this is an example, man. It's not, this isn't real. It's like, you need the new guild achievement, We Are Legendary, in order to unlock the Dark Phoenix. The achievement requires the guilds gain access to all 6 legendary weapons currently available in the game. That's not how it's gonna be. It's an example. They said, for example. It's not really gonna be that way. But I'm cool with that. If you unlock something for getting those, hell yeah, why not? I thought that was the point of achievements originally. You were supposed to unlock cosmetic rewards. Finally, like, however many years after they put it in, they're actually enabling it the way it was supposed to be. Good God. What do you think the pre-Cataclysm events will occur, and what will they include? Twilight, Elementals, Twilight, Big Dragon. Easy. I know it's only a minor change, but are you liking the look of the new mage interface for portals? It's pretty sweet. Have you seen it? It's barely changed. It's the same as I get... I've had this interface for ages, because they took it from Arcanum, yeah? And Cryostate, whatever the hell the other one was. Cryolysis, I don't know what it was, but whatever the case, Arcanum had that anyway, so I've been using an interface like that for ages, which is better, so I'm not going to use it. I've got better mods. Okay, what else have we got? We've got questions coming in via IRC, so I better address... Oh, crap, that's a lot. Have you tried whether Blazing Speed needs the other proc? I think it does, but I haven't tried it now, because that would involve a respec. What's your opinion on the Worgen district in Darnassus? It's a freaking tree. It's not much of a district, is it? I think it's unfinished. They'll probably have some more. Have there been any changes to the Bloodsail Buccaneers? All I know is I've seen a lot of them around, but they might not. They might be the Saltwater Sea Dogs or some crap. I don't know if they're going to be using the old factions again. What's your opinion on the random dungeon tool? I could go for ages there. Oh, but I'll tell you this. How critical is it going to be for most people's gaming experience when you totally skip certain areas? You don't. You have to go to each dungeon. Right now, I can't get into any dungeons as my pre-made because I haven't visited the entrances. You have to go there. It's just a fact. You actually have to do that. Right, we do have someone in the channel who is repeating what I'm saying. There we go. It's been dealt with. No problem. I shall ban Revolver. You are the weakest link. Goodbye. There we go. Problem solved. Morons. What else have we got? I'll do a couple more, then I'll do shoutouts because I'm getting freaking exhausted. I need something to eat. Last question before I go on to shoutout, folks. That's what I can find. I'll pick one more. Do you think fire can become a viable raid spec in Cataclysm? Yeah. The thing is, it's going to be kind of dependent on how many dots you can apply. A lot of the stuff's going to be more effective when you're applying multiple dots to targets. So I think in any raid encounter where you've got a lot of ads, should be good. In any raid encounter where it's just a single target, I think Arcane's still going to be more effective. But you never know. I say the dot mechanic seems pretty neat, and I like setting people on fire, so I really couldn't care less. Shout-out time, folks. I'm so freaking tired. I don't care. 2 more minutes. Shout-outs to me, themurloc@gmail.com. Send them in via IRC. You can try chat, but I can't guarantee. So there's going to be so much spam. Seriously. There's always so much spam. Shout out from Akariba to Burning Winds on Daggerspine EU. Is that some kind of curry guild? Shout out to my husband Bracker for getting me to heal ICC for the first time. That's from Carowin, the Holy Paladin of Fenris US, who just admitted to 1,500 creepy people and then 75,000 creepy podcast listeners that you're a female. Bad idea. A shout out to Northland Travel Agency on Doomhammer US. Awesome. You could ally with Tesco car insurance that we've got. For getting into the beta and Hogger for becoming a dungeon boss in Cataclysm. About friggin' time. That's from Taratus. There you go. What else have we got? Josh Cuthbert says, can I have a shout-out this time? Yeah, I guess so. He just dinged 80. Congratulations, now you get to do boring raid content. That's from Josh on Laughing Skull. Who else? Love the show, Mr. Biscuit. Listen to most of the archives. My only question is, where can I get an angry badger? Well, you get a normal badger, you hit it with a stick a few times, and then you get your legs bitten off. It's pretty pro. So, yeah, whoever you were, there's a shout-out for you. Okay. IRC is erupting in spam. Oh, God. Shout out to Corey. Now stop spamming, you noob. Shout out to the New Order server, Proudmore EU. That's from Jin. Okay, shout out to Dark Servant on Bronzebeard. That's to himself. Well, la-di-da. A shout out to Deathwing for ending Wrath. Yes, indeed. We should all like Deathwing for that, I might add. A shout out to Legrand for the sake of having a shout out for Legrand. And a shout out to Grimjaw Anvilmar for being a non-scrub DK. A shout out to Kingslayers on Arthas US. And a shout out to Divine Fury for being epic. Please use the intro epic voice. One last shout out, folks. I'd like to give a shout out to the channel youtube.com/BlueZephos. That's blue as in the colour, Zephos. XEPHOS. Those are the guys from the Yogscast. They do some really irreverent and funny Cataclysm videos. I think you should go all go subscribe to them. Seriously, go do it. Go subscribe to Blue Zephos. Like I say, they're good friends of mine. They're really awesome. They do different stuff to me. You might find them funny. I certainly do. They're bloody hilarious. My name has been TotalBiscuit. You've been listening to Blue Please on CynicalBrit.com with Brian Blessed. Would you like to hear some new Cataclysm music? This is called Welcome to Orgrimmar, and I'm going to follow it up with the Shattering. My name's been TotalBiscuit. Thank you ever so much for listening to the show. I'm going to go fall over. Good night.